Let me start off by saying that while Tata is a 100+ year company, a group, the companies have been added, many companies have been added in the last 10 to 15 years, and very new companies on the frontiers of the changing reform in the country have made it something like a very big mix of and the challenges that come out of being old and being new. And now that it is growing global, it is adding to that complexity in that sense. So corporate sustainability or CSR or anything that you would like to use as a semantic to describe this phenomena has been really very core to the values that we stand for right from the beginning. But what had to happen was, how do we really reinvent ourselves and make it more contextual to the changing environment? The first one was a transition from a typical post-industrial revolution into bringing technology, seeing things first time for life and seeing how to pioneer these efforts and embed that into society. And you have a whole cluster of issues when the Tata Trusts were formed and when the workplace environment was to be created in an Indian condition. When technology came from the Western world like steel and cotton weaving and all that, we had to find our own way to get our labor emancipated from real poverty, and therefore a lot of welfare measures that happened became the law after independence. And they were taken as benchmarks, and somehow Tata got into a position of setting benchmarks. The expectations are that even now that labor reforms are around. During economic reforms lately, when the whole company law was revisited as if starting from zero, they found a Tata director to head that committee. When complex things like affirmative action came in and a lot of inclusion had to happen and find a context, a procedure to meet that context, again a Tata director was found to be good to sort of head that committee. So that way it passed through making certain pioneering efforts and then having impact on practice later on. Then after independence, it was really more about the responsibility of becoming something like a social arm of the state, to take immediate communities around and own them up as if you are adopting villages, and those who had the capacity like Tatas at that time even manage a whole township. And for that they were willing to call it by your name, so we have Jamshedpur named after Jamshedji Tata. But a very traditional model wherein you have everything around catered to by the company for the employees and stuff like that. Then it's actually, if I can call it, let's say post-reforms in India and pre-downturn areas, is a period. The most significant thing that really happened was more and more new companies came in. There were less and less of those very big manufacturing kinds in the rural areas. There were more like the IT sector, ICT related companies, having a lot of urban presence and a pan-India network kind of thing, where you could not possibly have the same model of CSR or social outreach to employees. And we had to see how gradually the empowering communities within India were given matching responses from the company side to see that the profile of CSR or CS or whatever you call it got a little on making employees and stakeholders more self-reliant. It began with support from the beginning, but they had to quickly come out and stand on their own. I was just telling somebody yesterday that how did it affect our approach to NGO sectors, social sector? The expectation was that social sector always came for checks or some kind of support, long term, medium term, short term, but it was the modem of expression was, we give a check. But now we insist that why don't we give you a purchase order, become part of the supply chain. So that is the kind of contextual marketization, if you want to call it, or social marketization. But the values have not changed. They have had to be embedded into business process as well as systemically driven, and the element of systemically driven has come in much more. Corporates are very good at processes and their immediate outcomes or results, or when you see a balance sheet, you really look at the results coming out of some operations. But there is really no way to show what is the future impact of those, and that is the challenge faced by all the GRIs, and the IIRC will also have a lot of problems. And I was a part of the whole discussion for 6 years of ISO 26000, which finally got, as you know, out, but not as a standard, but as a guidance document. And why was that? Because they could not really converge on the specificity of certain indicators that could be really measured and certifiable. And therefore, we really felt that the Tata Index should have the third dimension, which is of impact. Impact, I thought I can just, it's an oversimplification, but just for want of time, I would say it is something that is long-termish. It need not be logically connected, like you put a car facility and you get cars, but the impact in terms of human well-being after many years could tweak either way, for good or for bad, depending upon the situation in which society really assimilates your products. Like the cars and the trucks will have created a huge population of drivers, their behavior, their cost towards, bad drivers would be a cause to more accidents and stuff like that. So impact by nature had to be looked at from a human well-being paradigm and nothing to do with the process and outcomes of a company. And therefore, the TBEM, the Tata Business Excellence Model, has a superb way of understanding everything by consensus. They use I would say very qualitative, but semi-qualitative methodologies to converge onto numbers that we are all very fond of and still so used to. So it gives the convenience of having both. You can talk about very subjective matters and still converge, and it is and it's all based on convergence, and it is nothing to do with an individual's opinion. It is to do with collective opinions, internally as well as external partners. We have not yet done with external partners, but we propose to do this in the coming 1 year. And that is how we are trying to use a business-related methodology very familiar to the group with some 1,500 assessors, combining that now with some more people within our own companies who do more of this social and sustainability work, and that will further extend through training of community leaders and key communities and key suppliers, let's say key dealers and key stakeholders, who will do this assessment in the next few years. And I would then really say, if there is something to claim, we would really be a huge, in a big way, a kind of input that will go into the IRC's requirement, because it cannot be an extrapolation or a logical development of accounting principles. There has to be a good deal of the environmental and social factors which are so subjective, of which we know very little and which we have not really thought of as the purpose of the enterprise. Jamshedji Tata, I would conclude by saying Jamshedji Tata really felt that communities and people are not just another stakeholder or a stakeholder or not stakeholders in our business, but the very purpose of the existence of enterprise.